Adobe Photoshop. So me and you will go through Adobe Photoshop. We will start with the absolute basic knowledge for absolute beginners, right? So you don't need to have any previous knowledge for this class, right? But before I start, I would like to ask if there is anyone that have, some knowledge with Adobe Photoshop. You used Photoshop before? No one? All right. Okay. Anyone has Photoshop installed in your device? Farhan, okay. Anybody else? Okay. I guess you can get your free package, Adobe package from, using your UTM email, right? You can email UTM Digital to ask for further information, but I guess it's free. I'm using my UTM email and it's totally free, right? Okay, what we are going to learn today is the main interface of Photoshop, how to first, take a look at Photoshop and how to master some of the very, very important tools in Adobe Photoshop. And it's not only for Photoshop, but to learn any software, you need to learn starting with real examples, not only explaining about the tools, this do this and this do that. We will start with real examples. We will start with designing some pieces to get you started with Adobe Photoshop. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to start sharing my screen, all right? So once you get your Adobe Photoshop installed in your device, what you wanna do is just click in Adobe Photoshop and it will start running, okay? And this is the main interface that you are going to get, right? Very simple and sweet, okay? With no very complicated options, all right? We do have here two main options that will get you started with Adobe Photoshop, whether it's a new file and open. These are very important to understand, okay? Now, when you hit new file, okay, Adobe Photoshop will get you tons and tons of templates, all right? Professional templates about skills and, ready to use, okay? Let's say if I want something to print, okay? If I click print, I will see that I have letter, legal, tabloid, A4, many template that you just can use and change the fonts and you are ready to go, right? So for example, if I hit A4 and create, this is what I can get. This is the project, the A4 project that I'm going to use, okay? And when you open any project, you will get the information about this project, starting with the name, untitled, okay? The real measurement of the project and the type, okay? So the name, untitled, and 33.3% is only what is showing, okay? This is not the real measurement. So if I want to see the real measurement, I can zoom in, okay? Until here, you can see here down, it's 100%, okay? So now it's showing me 100% of my design, okay? Now, when the design is bigger, just like that, I can use the space from my keyboard to get this hand, this hand. It will get me the freedom to move around with my design, okay? Let's close this one and go back. Now, we have a lot of options, not only A4, a lot of professional stuff that you can use for printing. Not only printing, we have art, illustrations, we have web, something if you want to design your website, something like social media, banner, Facebook, whatever. You can just click using any of these and you are good to go, right? Something for mobile, it will get you the exact measurement that you need to have to be able to design the same exact measurements. For example, if I click iPhone 8, 7, 6 Plus, this is the measurement of my design, okay? And this is only 50%, so I just click zoom in, and this is my design out and how it's going to be, right? This is only to show you what new file means, okay? The other option is open. When I click open, Adobe Photoshop will open a window. This window will get me to select any file from my device, right? So if I click here, I can get this photo and open. I am ready to go, right? Now this is my project, okay? This is my project that I need to start with, okay? So this is the difference between new file and open. The other part is recent. Recent will show you the most recent files that you have opened using Adobe Photoshop, okay? And then in the left here, we have home, learn, a lot of free tutorials to get you started, your files, shared with you if you are working on a team, and finally deleted if you have deleted any recent file and you want to maybe get it back, right? And stuff like that. Now, let's start with, for example, open, right? And let me go back and let me, for example, open this file. Okay, this is a photo. I click open, select the position of the photo, and then open. Now, this is my photo showing in Adobe Photoshop. This is the name of it, all right? And this is 100%, and this is the RGB, which is the format of the photo, right? Once you open any file, any picture, any image, any project in Adobe Photoshop, you are going to get a very, very important window here called layers. Now, if you are planning to master Adobe Photoshop, you need to understand layers perfectly, okay? You need to understand how these layers work and what does it mean, okay? Now, when you open a photo, this is the standard in Adobe Photoshop. It will open it as a background, all right, with a lock in it. The lock here means it is non-editable. I cannot edit this photo unless I unlock it, okay? Now, I can unlock it by two options. Option number one is double click, and then I turn it or convert this layer to a normal layer, right? Now, if I choose OK, the lock is gone. I can lock it again if I want, but I'm not interested to. So this is the first option, right? Let me go Control Z to the background again, all right? So number one is double click. The other option is right click from my mouse and duplicate layer. Now, by doing so, I am able to duplicate the layer. I will have a 100% exact same picture, but in a different layer. So whatever adjustment I do is going to be only for this layer, right? Now, when I duplicate the layer, I prefer that you always rename the layers so that you will not be lost in Adobe Photoshop, especially if you are designing something big with many, many layers, so that you won't be lost, all right? So let's say layer one, right? And then hit OK. Now, when I do that, I notice that the lock is gone and it's totally different from this layer, right? So whatever adjustment I do, whatever changes I do in layer one, it's not going to be affected in layer one, in the background. Let's say, okay, let's say I want to add And Adobe Photoshop comes with a lot, tons of effects that you can apply in graphics. And some of these effects are ready to use. You don't need to do it manually, right? Some of these are, for example, auto-tone. If I click auto-tone, I will notice the image is totally different. The lighting of the image is different, okay? Now, when I do with layers, I see the effect is applied in layer 1, not in the background. However, I cannot see background. Why? Because layer 1 is above the background. So I only see what is happening in layer 1. So if I hide, you see this little eye icon? This will indicate the visibility of the layer. So if I click it here, it is hidden. I am no longer seeing layer 1, I am seeing the background again, right? So if I click on it, I am now at layer 1, not the background. This is the main idea behind layers, right? Now let me go back to background, duplicate again. I have layer 2, for example. Good. Now in layer 2, I want to apply something different. Let's say auto color, auto contrast, all right? Now this is a different effect. Okay? When I hide layer 2, I can see layer 1. When I hide layer 1, I can see the background again, okay? So here's layer 1, and here's layer 2, and it shows you the changes that I have just made, okay? One more example, duplicate layer 3, okay? And now I can, sorry, I can reposition the layers. How to do that is simply click on it, click and hold, all right, and move it. Where I want to actually release the layer, I just release it using my mouse, okay? So this is now the background, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. Now, what I want to do is apply another effect in layer 3 so that it's different from layer 2 and then different from layer 1 and then different from the background. Okay, guys? Is the layer concept clear? Clear? All right. Now, this is only to get you understand how layers work. Now, as a project, as an Adobe Photoshop project, I have two options, okay? When I finish designing, I'm finished adding my poster, my graphic, whatever, I can simply go to File and then Save. Now, when I click Save, it will shows you a lot of options, okay? Save as, I can select the format, okay? I notice here it's Photoshop. The format is Photoshop. Now I save, right? Replace, right? And then I close it here. Okay, now we have the same photo, but different format. Now, the first one is JPG, and the second one is PSD. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between JPG and PSD? And you will have one mark. Just try to think it over. Anyone would like to tell me? Anyone would like to try? Anyone?
Is it the size?
Come again?
The size of the file.
The size of the file could be a difference, yes. Okay, but what I'm looking for is something more specific. Anis?
PSD is for Photoshop.
Oh, okay. Khairul and Anis is for Photoshop, yes. The point is, if I click here in the PSD file, I will go back to find all my layers, okay? It's a Photoshop project, as Khairul said, okay? And the size is definitely bigger than the JPG, okay? So if I close this one and open the JPG file, I can see it's only a JPG file with no any adjustments, all right? So this is the difference between the formats. All right, Anis and Khairul, please remind me after the class about the mark. All right. Another example to get Adobe Photoshop more clearer to you. Let's click open, and then let's go ahead and choose another images. Now, when you want to insert more than one image into Adobe Photoshop, what you want to do is click Shift and select how many images you want to insert, okay? In my case here, I want to add this one, 3, 4, right? When I'm done selecting, I click open, right? What I see here now is I have 4 images open. This is the first, second, third, and fourth images. In this exercise, what I want to do is, okay, this one by mistake, I just want to open the image, not the Adobe Photoshop file. Okay, see here, JPG, not the PSD. I want the JPG file. Right, brilliant. Now I have, as I mentioned, this image, right? And I have these other 3 images. What I want to do is I want to merge all these images in one design, all right? So to do that, what I want to do is I go to the first image here, I click Move tool, which is a tool that will get you move things around, okay? I click and hold and I go to my background and then release it, okay? You will notice the moment that I release my image, the layer has been created. And this layer is only for the second image that I just added, right? That is why we have started with the concept of layers to understand what is going on, all right? Now I want to add the second image. One more time, move, click and hold, I go to my design and release it, okay? Now, when I move stuff around in Adobe Photoshop, you will notice that Adobe Photoshop will automatically align the images together, right? Just perfectly aligned together, right? And then I release. And one more time, it has its own layer, right? So layer 1 and layer 2. And this is obviously the background, right? Now the third image, as we can see, the size of it is a bit different. Let's see if I move it, move and hold, and then I insert it here. Now, the size of this image is a bit different from the other ones. So what I want to do, I want to rescale this image to be aligned with the other 2 that I just added. To do that, I simply go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. Okay. Once I click on that, I will see that this image has these small dots all around the image, which are responsible to resize the image, you know, as much as I am desired to, right? So I simply click on any of these corner and start to rescale, okay? Now let's say I want to rescale only from one side only, okay? I hit on shift on the keyboard and I start to rescale from one side, okay? I want to rescale from the top. I hit on shift and then start to do that. I don't want to do that. I just go Control and Z, right? Undo, okay? So one more time, movie tool, edit, transform, and scale, right? I go to any of these corner and then rescale the image as much as I want. What I want to do in this case, I just want to rescale it to be 100% aligned with these images, right? So what I can do is double click, move it, and I can see that it's not perfectly aligned. So I can zoom in a little bit, use the space from my keyboard to get me this hand so that I am free to use it. And then move again, right? And move it here and go to edit, transform, scale, and hit on shift. And then this is perfectly aligned with the other photos, right? So now what I want to do is just take it a little bit down and, oh, oh, transform, scale, shift. Okay. Move. What I want to do now is zoom out, right? To see my whole design, okay? Now these are the 3 layers that I just added. If I click shift, I can select these 3 layers and move it around all together at the same time. And this is how we add multiple images in one design. All right. Now, if we notice, guys, there's some important, very, very important tip for using Adobe Photoshop tools. Okay. Whenever you select any of these tools, you will see that there is a box here. This box is more additional features for this tool, okay? Let's say here, I click move, and then we have many options. For example, if I select layer 3, move tool, I can select, for example, show the control, okay? The transform controls, which is the same as scale, transform scale, okay? Instead of just going to edit, transform, scales, I can just click here and start to scaling my image, right? When I'm done scaling, I can hit enter from my keyboard and I am good to go. Good to go. Now, if I hit any of these tools, I can see the box here is different, okay? Because it's specially for this tool, right? Now, for example, if I use zoom in here, if I click zoom in, I have zoom in, zoom in and zoom out, okay? If I zoom in, it will get you extra, zoom out, it will get you a wider perspective. Are you guys following so far? Anything you want me to repeat so far? Everything clear? All right. Can anyone tell me why do we need layers in Adobe Photoshop? Why do we need layers?
Is it to make changes? So if you want to alter something, you can easily select the layers you want to change.
Exactly, Zainal, to make changes, to edit any image aside without affecting the whole design. Okay, this is the main concept of Adobe Photoshop. right? Using layers and mastering layers is very, very important, right? Okay, now let's get to know more examples and more exercises about Adobe Photoshop. Let's say I want to open another file. Example, this file, then open. There are many, many features in Adobe Photoshop that will get you do as, you know, photographer, professional photographer that they use, okay? We have went through some of the, let's say, standard effects, just like auto tone, auto contrast, auto color, and there are a bunch of adjustments that you can add into your image manually. Let's take some of the examples of these adjustments. If I, for example, select hue saturation, okay, once I hit hue saturation, I will get this window, right? Now, hue saturation will get me the ability to change some of the colors in the image. I'm sure that you have seen some of the designs with the black and white. The whole design is black and white, but there is only, for example, yellow color in the design, or only one red color. Okay, this is the concept of how to do this. For example, if I select red, now, if I start to change the color in my photo, only the red color will be changed. All right. Why? Because I only select reds. Okay. What about if I select yellow, for example, start to change? Now the yellow part will be changed. Can add lightness, background, gray, and right. Let's say go to red again. Right. Do something like that. This is what hue saturation gets you to do, right? Let's cancel this and go, for example, for black and white. This will simply convert your image into black and white. All right. Let's go to levels, right? When you select levels, it will get you, but let me open another photo so that it will be more clear. All right. Now let me open this and go to image, adjustment, and then levels. When you select levels, you will notice that there are three input, right? Three inputs levels. The one that will get the picture more darker, right? All right. And the one that will get the picture more light. Okay. And this is the perfect use for this one is if you have taken a photo with much light during the sun, you can simply insert the photo here and give it a little bit of dark, and the extra light will be gone. Okay, so this is how to deal with levels. And the activity that I want you to do is just insert any of your photo, your own personal photo, and try all these adjustment that you can apply in any of the images, right? Now let's learn something different, which is how to deal with texts using Adobe Photoshop. Now let me open this photo, for example. Right, select and open. And here we go, we have our photo. I hit space to maybe center my image so that I know what to do, okay? And what I want to do is I want to create an advertisement for a workshop, whatever, something that I want to do. And this is going to help you a lot when you create your assignment one. That is why we are learning Adobe Photoshop after we covered the graphic part of this course, right? What I want to do is I want to create a text. Now, when you deal with texts in Adobe Photoshop, we have two options. Option number one is just click and then click again, and you have your headline, okay? This is the standard text. And this is going to help me only if I want to add one line as a headline, okay? Let's say, save the date, 18 April 2023, all right? And maybe I double click. When I double click, I can add extra features. I can add more characters of the photo. Now, I am clicking on the text so that this box will get me to, for example, change the size of the text, the font, all right, the font type, right, based on whatever font that you have into your laptop. And I can get extra additional feature as well if I click here in character, okay? If I click in character, I can see that I can change the font, okay? I can add more space into lines only if I have a paragraph, okay? I can extra space between the letters itself, okay? I can add a lot of features, okay? Let me go back and move this text here. Okay, save the date. And then what I want to do is the other option of adding text, click, and then instead of just clicking, I'm going to draw a box. Now, what is the difference between the first one and the second one? The one that I have added by only a click. The second one, I draw a box for the text. What is the difference between these two? Can anyone tell me or try to tell me the difference? Okay, the first one, which is here, this is only working if I want to add a headline, okay? The second one, it will deal with the text as a paragraph. So whatever character I add, whatever changes I add, it will add it as a whole character, okay? Here, like C14 or 16, right? And maybe I will move it a little bit around down. Maybe I can add another text. Okay. Free online workshop. And double click. I will add a huge size of the font. All right. And I can see here, each one of the text has its own layer. So I want to move, save the date here. I just click and then move it around, okay? And this goes exactly the same as the photos. It will automatically align the texts, okay? So let's say I want to move this one, free online workshop. I move it around. Maybe I'm not satisfied with the color. So what I want to do is double click to get this one selected. And then from here, I pick another color. How to do that? I just click on the color and then This is the color picker, which gives me a lot of options. Okay, I can move around if I don't have any value for the color. If you are dealing with, if you are a professional designer, you will get actually to input the value of the color. All right, I'm not doing that for now. What I want to do is maybe I will add this dark yellow and then hit OK. Right? Good. And then for this text, the box, I want the box to be aligned with the headline. All right. So I just adjust the box like that. Maybe I can add the change the size. Okay. Now, this is the details of my advertisement. But as we can see, the text is not clear because the background has a lot of colors. What we can do in this case is that we can create a background for the text that will actually separate the text from the background. How to do that? We have a lot of options. One of them is to simply go to this tool. Okay, this tool will give you the ability to add any of these shapes: rectangle, ellipse, triangle, polygon, etc. Okay, in this case, I want to select rectangle tool. All right, and when I pick rectangle tool, as usual, I go directly here to change the characteristics of the rectangle or any shape that I have selected. So in the fill here, I want to fill it with white color. Okay, I don't want any stroke, no stroke, so I select no stroke, and I go draw my rectangle. Okay, now you notice here, guys, when I draw the rectangle is added as a separate layer. Okay, so if I hide it, it will be hidden from the background. Okay, let me just resize it a little bit and then enter. Okay, but now I don't like the look of it because the rectangle is covering the background. So what I can do is change the opacity of the rectangle, right? From here, I make sure that I am selecting the rectangle layer. I go here and then decrease this value to maybe around 60 or something, right? So by doing so, I can still see the background and the fonts are very clear because it has been separated from the background. There is an extra addition features that I can use to make the color, the fonts even more clearer, okay? Now, if I select this layer, for example, and right click, there is something called blending options. Blending options. Click, and this window will pop up. This window gets me to ability to change a lot of features in my text, starting with the color. Okay, just click color overlay, and from here you can click any color. We can do that from there, but we can change it from here as well. We can add shadow to the text. Okay, let's say I want to add this shadow. I want to add maybe a stroke. Okay, I can change the size of the stroke as well. Okay, you can see the size is different, but I usually go with 3 as a value. I can add maybe a 3D texture of the headline, the main headline. Okay, and a lot other different features. Okay, this goes to all the layers as well. Blending options, drop shadow, but the shadow here is very big because the text is small, so maybe this is a perfect. And then finally for the third layer, blending options, and then maybe you can change the color to something more catchy, or maybe blue, shadow, and okay. All right, guys. So far clear, guys. Any questions? Do you know everything that I have done so far? Do you have any trouble? Okay, so far we have learned how to master layers, the concept of layers, which give us the ability to change every object in our project aside without affecting the whole design. All right, this is number one. And then we have dealt with merging more than one image and how to align images and how to rescale the images, and finally how to deal with texts, right? The last section that we are going to discuss today is how to insert images into frames, all right? So let me go ahead and close this one. Okay, before I close it, now I don't want, for example, I don't want to save this project as a PSD file. I just want to save it as a JPG. What I want to do, exactly like the previous procedure from a file, instead of save, we can choose save as a copy. And here you will see that there's a lot of variations of the formats, okay? You can also go to Photoshop if you want to save it as a PSD, so you are able to edit the texts later on, maybe add a different date, a different title of your design, okay? But I want to save it as a JPG or PNG to be able to share it through social media, through my phone. So I select JPG and then save, and then I select the quality, okay? And then okay. And then if I close this one right now, don't save, we have a, oh, I select no save. Oh my God. I said no save. Okay, let me try to open it here. Yeah, it's already saved into my device, but as an image, not a PSD file. I really hope that you understand the difference now between PSD and JPG. If I want to change the text now, I'm not able to. This is only a background. This is an image, okay? So if I move it around, it's only one layer. There's no multiple layers, okay? Unlike if I save it as a PSD. If I save it as a PSD, now I'm able to edit the text again, move the rectangle, maybe delete the text at all right? So these are what I want you to understand. Now, our last section in this in today's session is, what I want to do is insert images into frames. What I mean by frames is, let's go to open, sorry. Let's go to a new file to create our project from scratch. Let's go to custom and then create. right? Now, this is our project, which is a blank image, right? There's nothing in it. What we can do, select any object like the rectangle, or if I click and hold, I am able to click other shapes. Now, all these tools, if you see this small arrow at the corner, it means that there are more options for this tool, not only the move tool. If you click and hold, there is a move tool and there is the artboard tool. For this one, for example, the selection, there is a rectangle, there is elliptical, single, row, whatever, okay? For this one, there is lasso tool, polygonal tool, magnetic lasso tool, okay? So whenever you have this arrow, the small arrow, there are more options to do in this tool. Same goes to this one. So I click and hold, and then maybe select this polygon tool, right? And then I start to draw, right? Let's see, this is my object here. I want to fill it with black color with no borders, no stroke, and then close this. And see here, we have it as a new layer. Then I go to Move tool. Now I can open any image that I want to insert from Open, or simply click on any of this free space. If I double click using my mouse, it will open this window. And then I can choose any of the images from my device. Double click, and then I have this image with me. As I mentioned, we just simply go to Move tool, move, click, and drag, and go back here and then insert it. See, I have 3 layers now. The background, which is empty, the polygon, which is not showing because this image is covering it, because it's above this one. If I hide it, I can see the polygon again. If I show it, there's no polygon anymore, right? What I want to do, I want to insert this image inside this shape so that it will be like a frame. To do that, I will move my mouse between these 2 layers and then click in my Mac, it's Option. In your, if you are using Microsoft, you can click into Alt, all right? And then when you see this shape, just click, all right? Now I can see that the image is inserted into this object. If I click here, I move this image around, I can see that I only see what is the polygon is allowing me to see. Okay, what if I want to resize this photo? Okay, if I want to resize this photo, not the shape, I make sure that I am using this layer, the photo, the image, and then go to Edit, Transform Scale. Okay, I can see the borders. Now I can rescale the image, right? When I'm done, double click or enter from my keyboard. Okay, what about if I rescale this shape? What is going to happen? Edit, Transform, Scale. Okay, when I rescale this shape, okay, rescale the image now, right? So this is the shape that I am going to get, right? This is the image, and this is the shape, and this is the background. And maybe I can add a text now. I'll choose, I can only, guys, I can also choose some of the colors from the photo. How to do that is click, instead of using this color picker, I can go to this image, see? If I click here, you can see the color is different. It will pick whatever color that I am actually selecting, okay? So let's say I want to use this color right here. I stop and then click OK. Go to text and then all right. Now I can maybe add a different adjustment for the text. What I want to do is go here, change the size. Maybe I can add some space, right? And then move my text. Okay. And then right click, drop shadow, maybe a stroke. Even the color of the stroke, I can choose it from the image as well. All right, let me go with this color. Color overlay is not really clear. I can go with orange. Right, and then okay. Okay, now I have the text and I have the image inside the frame. Maybe I can add some other additional effects. If I go to this layer, I duplicate the text, right? Duplicate. Okay, now I have two layers, guys, of the text. To see that, I need to move it. I have two layers. And what I want to do in the second layer, this is the second layer. What I want to do is rescale it, edit, transform, scale, make it a little bit bigger like this, and change the opacity of the text. And maybe I can take it under the shape so that the text will be behind the image, right? And maybe I can scale it a little bit more. Okay. Clear, guys? Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay. Now in this class, what we have learned actually is not something, it's not a lot, but at the same time, I don't want to confuse you. I guess if you are able to do whatever exercise that we have done so far, it will be brilliant as a starter in Adobe Photoshop. And next week, we are going to start designing our poster, which is the assignment for this course. Now, whatever we have learned during this course today is just to get you started with Adobe Photoshop. And I will share the recording, obviously. And please make sure to download Adobe Photoshop, whether into your PC or you can use the UTM computer lab to practice. And obviously, I'm always here to assist you if you have any inquiry. All right, guys. With that being said, that's all for today. And before we end, please, if you have any question, it's time to ask me.
Doctor,
Yes.
I have a question. Can I download Adobe Photoshop on my phone.
There is a phone version, yes, but I guess it's not free.
Oh, it's not free. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's not free. So I prefer downloading it into your laptop using your UTM email so that you can use it. Even if it's a trial, free trial for a few days, it's okay. You can create your assignment and that's all.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, most welcome. But I'm sure you can actually download it using your UTM email and for free because I'm doing so. I'm doing the exact same thing. Okay, guys, any other questions? Everything clear so far? Okay. Now, what I want to ask you for next week, okay, when is the holiday for Hari Raya? When will it start?
I think it will start on 19.
19? That would be 9. Oh, so it will be at the same day as our class?
I think so.
Okay, in that case, because I don't want to miss any classes, and I want you to be the same as the section 1. I will record the class in section 1 and I will share it with you. Is that okay? Or you want to be, you want to take the class online? I don't have any problem. So you want the recording or you want us to meet online on 19?
What about we will do a poll so that we can decide which one?
All right, okay. I'll create. Can you create a poll in the WhatsApp group?
Okay, sure.
Afifa token, right? Yeah, Afifa. Fatin. Okay, Fatin will create a poll into the WhatsApp group. You decide whether you want to meet on 19 or you want me to share the recording that I will record for section 1 because their class will be on 16.
Okay, I already created it.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much and happy Hari Raya. Selamat Hari Raya.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
guys.
Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.